The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, this is Harlan. I want to make sure that you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, please, and you can hear me, please let me know. You know, I always like to start like this. And hi, we haven't been around in a while, been so busy with keto. And how are you guys? I came this past week from an amazing mastermind where I was the featured speaker at a $12,000 mastermind in Miami. And when I touched on the concepts that we are going to talk about tonight, the people were blown away. The people were still, and they said, nobody talks about this stuff. And we got into a serious conversation, so serious that people wanted to come back again and work again. The content, the quality, the fact that it's not the usual thing. I have a special guest here that I'm going to introduce shortly, but so I want you to pay attention because what you learn here tonight, whether or not you join us for continuing education at the end, but what you learn here tonight could very well have a major effect on your life. And I saw the names of some people here, and I know that we're talking to the right audience because this is a webinar that I've wanted to do for a while, and I consider it miraculous that it's occurring. So we're going to jump in. No, this is not our guest tonight. We'll just call him Benny, and that's actually his real name. Benny barely made it out of high school. I have to tell you, you remember the SATs and you got like 200 for signing your name? Benny got around to 200. I talked his way into college. He was a student, literally a student of mine. He dropped out of college after 2 years. He sold his first business for $12 million. He built a 9-figure business and sold that too. And now he's building a new business. Oh, I'm not going to mention it, but he's building a business for his new wife as well. So we see that someone doesn't, Benny himself said to me, looked at me because he knew me as Rabbi Kilstein. He said, Rabbi, I may not have the smarts that other people had, but look what I did. So my saying and my thought is, if Benny can do it, finish the sentence for me. If Benny can do it, nobody's going to finish the sentence.
Is that me, sir?
I can too. Anyone can do it. Yeah, anyone can do it. So let's go on. So here's what I've discovered. Number one, there is one single ingredient that distinguishes and separates failure from success. From people who want to make money, there is one single ingredient that stops them. This one ingredient is holding you back from untold wealth. Because I'm about to reveal a secret right now before I introduce my guest. It may make you uncomfortable, but I'm going to tell you nonetheless. You were born to be wealthy. You were not born to suffer, to wonder about making your ends meet, having enough money. You were born to be wealthy. And if someone like Benny can go and have 9-figure businesses. He lives a couple of blocks away, lives in a mansion that you can't even positively begin to believe. He got remarried, bought his new wife a diamond that, I mean, literally, it takes two hands to lift this thing on her finger. Benny, who barely passed, um, Mercy passed his way out of high school. He made it to wealthy. So if you were born to be wealthy, like I said, why aren't you? Well, our mystery guest is going to help us understand that. At the age of 26, he opened a development company to build, market, and sell $100 million resort in Fiji. And after becoming the top performer in real estate in two separate countries, he took the project over to Dubai to sell alongside the Palms and other multi-billion-dollar developments. But that's just the beginning. Change is going to start right tonight because our guest uses his expertise in NLP, neuroscience, gamification, and the wisdom he's gathered from seeing tens of thousands of clients. The best in the world in internet marketing, network marketing, forex trading, Amazon selling, world champion athletes, 10-figure business owners, PTSD survivors, special force commandos, Hollywood producers, actors, even members of the royal family seek Andy out to up-level their performance in business and life. I'd like you to meet now superstar coach Andy Murphy. Andy, welcome.
Hello, Arlen. Hello, everybody, too. And you know what? Every time someone reads that out to me, it doesn't even feel like me. It feels like a different person. But we've all been on journeys to get where we are, right?
That's right. And here you are.
That's a great picture. I love it.
You know, people know that I have like no nonsense, no tolerance for stuff. So I want to get right down to things. And my first question is, Andy, why do so many people fail in business?
Do you know what? I love that question for so many different reasons. And I love that, by the way, I love it that you're just getting into this, just straight into it. You know, I love that.
Listen, these are my people. They know there's no foreplay. I don't waste their time.
I get it, man. I'm getting to know all you people too. It's interesting because after working with so many different people, I'm really lucky because I get to look deep inside the minds of all of these incredible performers. And like you've gone through the list, and to me they just become my friends, you know. And I just help these people. But what all this is about, it's fear. It really, really is. And I've been there myself so many times in my life, but fear just holds us back. And Einstein said it best. We get boxed in by the boundary conditions of our thinking. We get stuck in thinking that the past is what's possible, but it's just not. And when we start to understand that about the brain, and this is my thing, I absolutely love neuroscience and actually practical real world things that we can actually apply, you know. And the thing about neuroscience is it teaches you, it backs everything up. Because the thing about the personal development industry, and I'm sorry, Harlan, I'm going to say it, it drives me a little crazy. It does. Because people just regurgitate the same things again and again and again, and they just don't have any wisdom behind it. They don't have any experience behind it. They're just repeating what they heard off somebody else, you know? And when we start to understand about the brain, we've got to understand that the thoughts that are playing through your head about the future, the past, who you are, right? Your money beliefs, all of these things, well, it's a muscle. Plain and simple, it's a muscle. And we're either pumping the muscle that we want in our brain, that's making us think, feel, and act how we want, or it's beating us up and holding us back. And that's how we get caught up in constantly looking for shiny object syndrome. You know, we've all been there, right, Harlan?
Oh, man. Oh, man. I know people live in the shiny object syndrome.
Oh, and we've all been there. And the thing is, when we start to understand how the brain actually works, then what we're doing is it's a sabotage pattern. And what we're looking for is a certain chemical in our brain. And the certain chemical is dopamine. So what we do, instead of getting that novelty or that good feeling of dopamine inside of our business, we go back to getting stuck inside of that box, like I said with Einstein, and we get to the boundary. And instead of expanding into something new, into a new world or a new version of us, what we do is then we go and look for, well, that shiny object, right? To get that good feeling. And that good feeling can come from, well, it feels good to start a new project, doesn't it? But you know what feels better? to finish one. When we start to understand about the brain, we've got something in our brain called the amygdala. Everyone's heard about this thing. You know, it's the fight or flight response. But the brain just wants the unconscious mind, or the amygdala, it just wants to keep us safe. So what happens is, instead of expanding into the unknown, what we do is go, oh, let's go back to what we do know. Even if we don't like it, our brain's constantly looking for that safety, that certainty. And that's really what stops people in business, expanding, living their true passion, getting really what they want out of life, which is what? Freedom, right? So they can look after their family, themselves, and, well, maybe help the world.
Wait a minute. Let me interrupt you. Are you saying?
Good.
Are you saying that a neurotransmitter, dopamine, is why people distract themselves and don't see through a business all the way to success?
Absolutely. It's definitely one of the biggest things. And we're talking about certain neurology and certain patterns of behavior, but absolutely dopamine. Because we're all entrepreneurs at some level on this call, I'm sure, right? And we're all a little wacky in some ways, you know, it's just the way we are, or otherwise we wouldn't survive as being an entrepreneur. And part of that is we're constantly looking for these dopamine hits. And if we don't take control of our brain, on our emotions and who we are, then what happens is we're looking for these dopamine hits in all the wrong places. And that creates this sabotage pattern. And yeah, it's sad to see sometimes, you know, Harlan?
So let me ask you a question. When someone knows that they have stuff to do and they spend their time on Facebook instead of getting the stuff that they need to have done, is Facebook providing the dopamine for them?
100%. And that's the sad thing about social media. Social media is an amazing tool. It's beautiful. But guess what? These guys know how the brain works. So they produce and create certain algorithms. So every time you get a like, you're getting a dopamine hit, an adrenaline hit. So what happens when you don't get the same amount of likes as you did once? Well, you feel bad, right? So you do another post, and you want more likes. That's what happens. So what happens when your phone's sitting next to you, right? It's suddenly you feel a pull inside of you to go and pick that phone up and do what? Yeah, get another dopamine hit.
You know, I never considered it that way, but that's it. So let's go on and come up with our next question, which is, come on.
Okay.
What has to change for someone to succeed? Are you suggesting that they inject themselves with dopamine?
That'd be quite cool, but I don't know how good it would be for us in our business and making money and being happy, right? But it's basically what we have to change is ourselves, Because the truth is, it's like, let me explain. We have our conscious and we have our unconscious mind. The challenge is our conscious mind. This is what therapists, psychologists, normal coaches, well, that's what they think is talk therapy. And the challenge with that is, it's the conscious mind's the bit of the mind that me and you are listening and talking in right now, right? We're consciously aware of things. So the challenge with this is, we don't need talk therapy. What we need is a toolbox, a conscious toolbox to be able to catch these patterns, to be able to change your focus, change that feeling, right? To be able to step into that best version of you exactly when you need to perform. That's what your conscious mind's for. Your unconscious mind. Well, my description of this, it's like the software that plays in the background of your head. That's like the software that plays in the background of a computer. What the heck does that mean? It means it runs automatically, it gets outdated, and it makes you perform a certain way. And the challenge with this is, if we start to understand the brain, and it's a muscle, the thing is, we keep pumping the old version of us, right? So understand, when we try to expand, when we try to get to that next level, when we try to really create change in our life, and we all try so hard, the challenge is the pain or the neurology or the muscle is big, thick, and strong. And the things from the past that hold us back become like weights. And it doesn't matter how hard we work to move forward. It's like we're having these weights pulling us back. And the challenge is, Harlan, and everyone listening, every time you repeat that pattern that doesn't serve you, or beat yourself up, or that old belief, the muscle gets bigger, thicker, stronger, and it just gets easier to do. And it's such a shame, because people just don't know these techniques and tools and systems that I've learned over 16 years of highs and lows. And I've been through some real harsh lows and some amazing highs. So what I know for sure is your business is a direct reflection of who you are. It's like a mirror. And if your business is performing, I pretty much guarantee I could look inside what's playing in your head, and guess what? What's playing in your head? Well, you're being disciplined. The images in your head are the right ones. You're confident, you're taking action. But if your business isn't doing that, I could probably look inside your head and see how you're sabotaging yourself. You're holding on to the past. You're escaping from really what the truth is. And the truth is, you're brilliant. You're here for a reason. You're here for a purpose. And that purpose is to go and do something special in the world, not hide on Facebook and take a selfie and pretend that you're doing well. No, like Harlan said, like you said at the start, buddy, we're here to be abundant. And so the thing that we've got to do to change for success and get that money is we have to scale our thinking.
We have to scale our thinking. How is it possible?
Does that make sense?
Well, let me ask you a question on that. Mm-hmm. How is it possible for someone who has not succeeded to scale their thinking?
Mm-hmm. There's so many different ways. For a start, we have to design what we want. What's the old saying? Any road will get you there if you don't know where you're going. So we have to literally sit down and design what we want. And that's how I take entrepreneurs from 5 figures to 6 figures, to 6 figures to 7, to 7 to 8, to 8 plus. It's not that I'm just showing them business strategies and tactics. It's we're literally growing who they are. So for example, Harlan, right? And I love this analogy. Say you want 7 figures, okay? Well, you have to become a certain version of you to get that 7 figures. Everyone looks at the end result, but no one understands the journey that you have to go through. To get 7 figures, for example, you have to have a certain belief about yourself, money, what's possible. You have to have a certain expectation. You have to have a certain amount of discipline. It all goes into building this version of you that is ready to receive that level of income, success, freedom. Because another way to look at it is, it's like everyone looks at people like Elon Musk and go, wow, he can buy everything. But you know what? If even me, and I don't know about you, buddy, but if I got dropped in Elon Musk shoes for a day, I don't know how long I'd be lasting. But Andy, you can buy everything you want, right? But I'm not ready to manage that level of performance. And the thing about that is he has built and become that version of him that is ready to receive those results. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it makes sense. Absolutely, it makes sense. So, let's go on to the next question. This is one that's not going to... Tell me how many people who are on the call right now have... it's not really cooperating. There we go. How many people on the call have bought a self-help book and it hasn't worked?
So the self-help book that hasn't worked.
Tell me the books that you've bought that haven't worked. People are saying dozens, many, lots of them. Let's hear some names.
Yeah.
I have a whole shelf of them. The Secret, yeah. That's the most famous of all time. What else?
It is.
Watching Think and Grow Rich.
I'm interested to see what books people...
The One Thing.
Ah, interesting. Oh, interesting.
What else? That's it? Come on, guys. Think and Grow Rich. 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Think and Grow Rich again.
Oh, wow.
You know the funny story about Napoleon Hill? He wrote Think and Grow Rich, but died in poverty.
What's that?
He did not think...
I didn't know that.
Yeah. How to Win Friends and Influence People. The Millionaire Mindset. Okay.
Classics.
So my question then is, so why don't these self-help books or programs actually work?
Well, nice and simple. It's so simple. Because we're just dealing with the conscious mind again, right? Plain and simple. And we're dealing with old neurology. So just because you read a book, you're going to get some aha moments. You're going to get, maybe it's great for inspiration in the moment, right? But the challenge becomes, it's like you have to step from the old you to the new you, right? And understand this. The old you, imagine this, right? If you've been lifting weights on your left arm for 20 years, okay? You've been curling that bicep for 20 years. What happens? That bicep is big, thick, it's strong, and it's easy to do that motion. And then say, Harlan, or everyone listen, I come along and say, what are you doing? That arm's massive. It looks crazy. Stop doing that. Stop lifting weights on your right arm. And you start lifting, and you go, oh, this feels strange. Oh, this feels, I'm not very good at this. I can't do this. Feels weird. I'm just going to go back to lifting weights on my left arm. And I'm like, stop lifting. It looks crazy. But yeah, but it feels normal. I'm used to this. That is literally what happens when people go to, read self-help books. They're thinking that's going to create the change. It's not going to create the change. It's going to create a perspective change. But then what, right? It's like going to the gym for 2 days and you go, oh, I know how to lift these weights. But are you lifting the weights, right? And you're probably not. So the challenge with these self-help books is that we're not dealing with the unconscious mind or the subconscious mind. We're not dealing with habits. We're not dealing with the nervous system. We're not dealing with changing memories. We're not dealing with chemicals. What we're dealing with is someone else's text. But that's it, right? Again, does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. So, but I have a follow-up question. Why don't
Okay.
people realize it? Why don't people realize,
Why don't we realize it?
why don't we realize that self-help books and programs that don't address the issues you're talking about can't possibly work?
Well, how can they? Because it's like, again, what are we looking for when people read the self-help book? Do you think they might be getting that dopamine hit again? They go, oh, I'm learning something new. But the truth is, they're tricking themselves. They're not learning something new. Well, they might be learning something new, but they're not applying a new thing. So again, they're feeling good. They're tricking themselves that they're actually taking action and growing, but they're not. It's just staying in, doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. Classic saying, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so now this next question isn't going to be politically correct, but I've never been accused. I've never ever been accused of being politically correct.
I'm very sure, Harlan. I've got to know you very well.
Why do people get all motivated at Tony Robbins seminar? They walk on fire, they walk on ice, they can fly, they can jump off buildings with a single bound, they can bend steel with their bare hands, and 2 days later, they're mindlessly mumbling Tony Robbins slogans to themselves. But they haven't changed.
I love that question. They haven't changed, you know? And I'm not putting Tony Robbins down at all. I think he's absolutely brilliant. But the thing is, it's you come away from those seminars, and let me explain. It's a concept I call the rubber band effect or the snap back. And what that means is that, remember I was talking about that boundary before? Well, that boundary, guess what? Let me put it like this. We develop a new muscle, right? So we go to these events and it's like going to the gym for 2 days with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? You're pumping the blood, you're getting big and strong, and you come out of there and you feel all pumped up, right? The muscle's big, but it's not really big, right? It's just that you're pumped up. So what happens is you're pumped up, you're feeling good, you've got neuroepinephrine pumping through your brain, you've got dopamine, you've got serotonin, you've got adrenaline, you're feeling amazing. The neurology or the mind muscle, yep, it's got bigger and thicker. It is. You've developed a new version of you. That's called a state or a peak state. Conversation for later. And that has really, truly happened. But the challenge is, just like going to the gym for 2 days with an expert, you come out, but the muscle's not developed. It's not integrated into the nervous system. It's not a habit yet. So what happens is you go out and the world doesn't really care that you've been pumping your mind or pumping your muscles. They're going to treat you like you were. So what happens was you get something called a snapback. Instead of expanding and becoming this new version of you, what happens is you get triggered. Someone might say something to you, or you might go into the old environments or work, and guess what? You go and you snap back to that old version of you, that muscle that's big, thick, and strong, the thing that you've been doing all your life, those old beliefs about what's possible, the attitude to getting things done or to people, places, things. It affects how you value yourself and even the self-talk that's going on through your head, right? So what happens is people get all pumped up, they get this snap back to the old version of themselves, and what happens is, and this is the saddest thing, Harlan, and this is the bit that genuinely breaks my heart, is that they then beat themselves up even more because they're like, why is everyone else moving forwards? Why can everybody else do this? Why do I see all this success from these pump-up seminars? And then what happens is they go deeper into, well, yeah, the old version of themselves, and they beat themselves up and they sabotage themselves more because instead of moving forwards and looking for that dopamine, looking for that new version and that clarity around the future, they just feel bad. And then they go back to doing those old habits, but this time it's even worse because that muscle gets deeper and stronger, and it makes me really sad, Harlan, you know? Because the truth is, these seminars are great, but it's what you do after it that's important, not the seminar. So again, does that make sense, buddy?
So when I mentioned that I was at a $12,000 mastermind I was teaching this weekend.
Amazing.
Someone brought up this concept of the Tony Robbins seminar and said, there's motivation and there's inspiration. There's people who get motivated there. They may even, some people, be inspired there, but they don't come home with any continuation. And that's the missing ingredient.
I like that.
It's just, they're done. They do something. So someone says, so what do you do after the seminar? That's a great question. And we're going to be getting to that. Because, if somebody did a survey, he's considered probably the number one, and all credit to him. He's the number one personal change person in the world. But if you were to interview the number of people who have actually changed and stayed changed, you could probably count them on one hand. That's a
sad truth, right?
It's really sad, because to get someone to do something on a continual basis, on a regular basis, is really hard. I worked my ass off building a 7-figure company. And they promised that it was all going to be hands off and you could just sit there and the money would come in. Now, I can tell you that I could sit there and money will come in tomorrow and maybe the next day, but it's going to start to fade out. That unless you take action every single day, it's going to go away.
Yeah.
But the 100%. People that I've seen, they start out kind of like similar to a Tony Robbins event. They come to a webinar, but 2 days later, it's all over. Okay?
Right.
Okay. So, let's go on. What is the number one piece of advice that you give a coaching student? People come to you. They have all different walks of life. What do you say to them?
Right. Interesting, right? It's one of my favorite people in the world is someone called Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think we might have all heard of him, right? And what he talks about is sets and reps, plain and simple, right? And sets and reps means that we have to keep building the basics, building the patterns, keep doing the work. But the challenge becomes is we get lost of what work was supposed to build or was supposed to do. We get lost. So the biggest thing I say is you have to be around the right people. There's something called the law of 33%. I'm sure you've heard of it, Arlen. I'm sure you've taught it. You might have even invented it, buddy. But the law of 33% means that we have 3 different categories, okay? And we have 33% of people who are below us. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean they might not be as driven or they might not be as deep into growth as we are. Then you've got 33% of people at the same level. Then you've got 33% of people who are 10 to 15 years ahead of you in the game, okay? That has been my number one focus for 16 years, all over the world. I have to put myself around the people I aspire to be like. Because then what happens is it activates something called mirror neurons. And mirror neurons are something in the brain which replicate whatever is around us the most. So the danger with that is if you're, I don't know, I'll use this as an example, right? If you're watching horror films every day for a month, how are you going to be thinking at the end of that month? Probably like a weirdo, right? But what would happen if you watched everything about Richard Branson or Elon Musk? Well, your mind or your beliefs is going to be expansive. Your concept around money will completely radically change. The thing about that is, everyone talks about the network as your net worth, but no one understands. Again, they regurgitate the same rubbish. They don't understand how the brain actually works and how mentorship actually works. And the challenge with that is, again, it's sad because people get lost in all of these different options, all of these different possibilities. There's a million people showing a million different business strategies. But the challenge is, why do people come to me at all different levels? I'm working with people who are running $400 million businesses. I work with people who are at all different levels, including someone who's just got an idea and just wants to get it out into the world. So if we don't have clarity, if we're not making the right decisions, if we're not building the muscle with reps and sets, and we're not around the right people, the challenge becomes is we can just get overwhelmed, we just get lost. So what I do for people is that's the number one thing. Be around the right people. Second, get so clear on where we're going. And third, make a decision. And then that decision leads to building the muscle that you want. That's not quite one thing, Harlan, but that's one concept.
Okay. Let's go on.
Okay.
So this is what we've been talking about a bit. What has to happen for change to stick?
I love this question. And I love this question for so many reasons. And everyone listening out there, you need to pay attention to what I'm about to say, because what I'm about to say is for a reason. Again, there is so much rubbish being taught in the personal development industry. It breaks my heart and it drives me crazy. It really does. That's why me and Harlan have become friends, because we're straight shooters, right? We go for what we want, and we've got a lot of experience, right? Harlan's got a lot more experience than me, and he's also mentored me. And the truth is, there's a lie in the industry, and it's a big lie. And it's a marketing lie, and it breaks my heart again. The 21-day or 90-day habit. It's a lie. It's not true. It's not true. Listen, there's a study that I teach. It's by a lady called Philippa Laley. I'm not going to go into it too much, but Philippa Laley actually did a study. Remember psycho-cybernetics, right? Psycho-cybernetics talk like an old book. I'm sure everyone's read that at some point, right? Or know about it. And he was a brilliant guy. And it was a concept in it which marketers grabbed and took. And it was the 21 days to form a new habit, right? So marketers got hold of that concept because who the heck wouldn't want to change their life in 21 days, right? But the challenge was what he said, it was a minimum of 21 days, right? So think about that, right? That's typical marketing, right? That's why there's so much fluff in the personal development industry. But this is the study. Philippa Laley from the London University, what she did was she took a group of people and she studied actual true change. What does it really take to create a new habit? Well, it actually takes between 18 to 254 days to form a new habit. People out there going, what? It's true.
No, it's not
so what's
true.
The average they found?
It just takes 21 days. That's it. That's what they said, 21 days.
Yeah, that's what they said. And again, it drives me crazy because what can you do? You can create a big shift in 21 days, but it takes longer. The actual average, Harlan, is 66 days. That's the average to create a new habit. And what a new habit means is it's integrated into your nervous system. It's automatic, it's normal, right? So the thing about change is we have to be around the right people. We have to learn how to control our mind, our emotions. We have to learn to break these patterns. And then we have to be, well, a little bit kind on ourselves and work hard, because we have to work hard until it starts to click in the brain. And when it clicks in the brain, then guess what? Well, life begins to change. This could be around money, health, whatever it is, or your business or your beliefs around what's possible. That's it. I know, because honestly, truly, maybe you don't all know my story, but you heard the brilliance, right? All the shiny at the start. Or the $100 million result, being this, doing this, being one of the top in the world right now for what I do. But I've also been stolen from. I've also had nervous breakdowns and bankruptcy. I've also had to change countries because of all of these things. And the truth is, I know how to build the habits. I know how to rebuild. I know how to create the best version of myself, which means I can I've helped tens of thousands of people to do exactly the same thing.
Wow. So, folks, I don't know if you've noted or you can guess, but I have huge admiration. I think we saw this twice. Did we cover what change has to stick?
Yes, we just did number 6, my friend.
Okay, our slides are what? Come on. Okay. Biggest question. Biggest question. True or false? Can anyone go from failure to success? Can they go from struggling to money?
Well, listen to this. What's the old saying? You can't teach a dog new tricks, right? That's what they've said for hundreds of years, maybe. I don't know. But
listen,
it's not true.
I have a stupid
Anybody
dog.
can.
Any tricks.
Oh, maybe you're not trying hard enough with him. I've seen your dog. He's pretty cool too. There's a neuroscience study called neuroplasticity. Okay, neuroplasticity means that the brain or the mind muscle, it's malleable. It's constantly adapting. This is how we evolved over generations. This is how human beings have survived, because we adapt. So the truth is, anybody from any stage of life, I don't give a damn where you are right now. I've been in situations in my life I've not been able to afford food or rent, but yet I've rebuilt my life to be one of the top in the world. And what does that mean, right? I come from such a working class background in Liverpool, you can't even comprehend. All of my friends who I grew up with are still doing the same rubbish. They're still working in factories and everything else. Yet, how was I able to change? I'm not special. I just use these tools and work hard. And so it's like when we look at the study of Oprah, right? No matter what you think of Oprah, she's not done bad for herself. But when you look at actually where she came from, she was locked in attics, she was abused, all of this horrible stuff. And the only way she knew how to change her life was from the books she read and that she found. And then she became Oprah, right? That's a decision. That's learning these techniques. That's all of the things that we've discussed today. So it doesn't matter where you are right now. Stop blaming yourself and stop with the excuses, because that's what they are. I know, because I know. I truly do. The next thing is anybody can create change. And this is how we do it. And I'm sure you've all heard of this, or maybe not, but you have something in your brain called the reticular activating system, right? Your RAS, right? We've heard of this, your filter system. And we actually take in over 2 million bits of information through our 5 senses every single second. Think about that, right? So it's too much for our conscious mind. So it has to go through this filter. What is appearing in your outside world is exactly what your filter system is set to and what muscle or version of you it's set to. So what's in your filter system? Your beliefs. Your beliefs around what's possible. The past, the future, money, the scalability of your business, the next client, the closing the deal. What else is in there? Your attitude. Your attitude to people, places, things. Getting tasked on, being motivated, even getting off your butt in the morning and meditating and putting binaural beats in your ears, which we haven't spoke about, or visualizing. It directly affects how you talk to yourself. So when we can, and how you value yourself. So when we can grow this new version of you, when we can truly change this filter in your brain to see a different world, it blows my mind. I've worked with so many different types of people, as you saw at the start, and even professional athletes who've lost 5 events in a row. We'll work with them. We'll build that new muscle. We'll change that filter. And guess what? Well, they win the championship. It's the same as, I'm not going to mention the name because some of my clients are very private, but I was working with a gentleman a couple of years ago, and he was earning 100 grand a month. So he's doing not bad. But the thing was, he was hesitant to actually build a new office and actually grow his business. Why? Because of his experiences from the past. So what we did, we were able to change that filter and change the visuals and change what the unconscious mind. And so he saw the money coming in. He saw the business growing. He saw the success. And I swear on my life, that year, that company did $10 million. I didn't teach them one thing about business strategy. Yes, systems and things like that is for the CEO. But what I did was change his neurology, change who he is. And so he could see a different way. And as soon as he did that, everything changed. That filter changed. It literally created a new reality. It was amazing to see for me. And that's what excites me about working with people. That's what excites me about life. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody can move to whatever they want in their life. They've just got to know how. Again, does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. Let me, at this point, turn and see if you guys have any questions. What questions do
I'd love some questions.
before I go on? Do you have any questions? If you do, type them in. You have tons of questions? We'll start with one, Lawrence.
Yeah, I'd love some questions. That's why I'm here.
Most people don't get to work with him. He's getting he's getting frustrated. You getting frustrated with us?
So not I understand. I think he means frustrated that the clients aren't coming in. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I'm waiting to see his comments.
Well, okay. Let's find out. But
he wants to share more. If all the books have been rubbish, okay. Are subliminal recordings helpful to reprogram our brain? I'm going to take that one. And I'm going to tell you that one of the biggest frauds perpetrated on people is that subliminal stuff that you can't hear, that you can't see, affects change. I had to go through this during my doctoral dissertation because for some reason my professors thought that this was connected to what I was researching was connected to subliminal. It wasn't, but I had to do the research for them or they wouldn't have approved it. So subliminal does not work. Now, normally when people think about subliminal, the next thing over is its cousin hypnosis. Hypnosis seriously does work. Next question. What's the most effective way to
Oh,
change our subconscious programming for permanent change?
yeah, absolutely. The language of the unconscious mind is visualization. It's how it encodes. It's how it is. You have certain movies, certain images, certain thoughts and feelings that are playing in your brain. So the thing is, if you give the unconscious mind or the visuals one option, it will do it. So what we've got to learn to do is, and I can't really go into it right now, but it's really about dropping brainwave frequencies and teaching you very technical, specific ways to visualize that's going to talk to the unconscious mind. That's how you create change. But even doing basic visuals is going to help, but we can go into it so much deeper.
Okay. Andres says, what about transcendental meditation?
Meditation's
Well,
massively important.
specifically
Massively
mantra meditation. Is that
yeah,
going to overcome?
mantra meditation. Yeah, mantra meditation is great. It's really what meditation is being able to hold focus on one specific thing for a long period of time. So really transcendental meditation, or TM, that's what you're doing. You're repeating something, a statement or a mantra. And what that does is it holds your conscious mind focused on one specific thing. What that means is your brain then goes into a different frequency, it's dropping from alpha to beta and it goes deeper. But once we're there, we have access to the software and to the visuals. So transcendental meditation is brilliant, but the challenge is that's just step one. I meditate for 40 minutes every single morning, but it's just step one, because what we're not doing is we're calming the nervous system down, we're dropping brainwave frequencies. Meditation is massively important, but we're not visualizing or creating the future. So what people do is they calm themselves down, but then they freak out because they don't know where the brain's going. There's nothing in the future for them.
Okay, I have a great question here from Gary. Great question. Okay. What does Andy use as an approach to someone who has Groundhog Day syndrome, where they wake up with great motivation ideas, but they end up doing the same day over and over again?
Yeah, it's a decision, right? You can keep being in pain and keep being stuck where you are, and you can keep being like everybody else. But the truth is, buddy, there's a whole different world out there, and you just haven't explored it. So the thing that's holding you back is fear, right? Because I know you've got a dream inside of you. I know there's something that you want. I know you're listening to this call for a reason, right? But the truth is, if you don't explore your options, if you don't get clear on what you want, then what you're going to keep doing is what you know. And then you're gonna just feel sad about life. But the truth is, everything that you want is there, but you just have to be ready to receive it. So it's about getting really sitting down and looking at options, possibilities for your life. And the other question is, Gary, I don't know who you're hanging around with, but you might want to change that.
I was going to cut questions, but the good ones are coming in, so let's just keep going for another. What about tapping or EFT? That was popular a while back. Not as popular now. What do you think?
Right. I think whatever works, but is there some placebo there? Maybe. I don't think there's anything wrong with placebo either, right? But the truth is, I haven't seen the neuroscience.
Not only isn't there neuroscience, but normally people use that in cases of like trauma or breakthrough. It's not used where someone does something one time and they stay that way. All right.
And it's not used for performance. It's not used for business growth. It's not used for making money. What it's used for, like I love what you said, it's used for releasing trauma. And that's a great thing.
Okay. Eliyahu says, what about brainwave entrainment? Are you indicating that works?
Brainwaves, yeah. Well, yes, they do, but you've got to understand that again. It's just like the 21-day, 90-day habit line, right? There's all different things. So brainwaves are important because you've got to understand what that is, right? So we have to use brainwave frequencies like binaural beats and everything, or certain breath work or certain trance work to get access to the software. The software is the visuals, right? That's your nervous system. But the truth is, I don't know what program that is, right? So brainwave frequencies is just step one. Step two, again, we've got to build the neurology or the visuals of where we're going. So brainwaves, I use binaural beats all the time. I use all that stuff. But the truth is, then what, right? Because you just got things playing in your ears. If the neurology, or you don't know how to interrupt patterns and change beliefs and fire anchors up and changing states, if you don't understand about things that are triggering you, if you don't know about brain chemicals, if you don't even know about business strategies, then brainwave stuff isn't going to do nothing. But if you understand it and then do all of that stuff, that's how we create massive, massive results.
Well, I have paid a substantial amount of money to work with Andy. Not only have I paid a lot of money to work with Andy, but there's a bill sitting in my email right now to pay him more money. True or not true?
That's true. It's true. It's true.
It's true. And I have paid him way more than $10,000 for coaching work for probably for more than a year. And every dollar I have invested has been turned around and paid me back, I don't know, 10, 100 times. It's just really valuable. But I paid money to plenty of other people too. And that was just pushing it away, you know? I gotta tell you the truth. You know, I normally people do not get to work with Andy because of his cost. He works with people who you heard have 7, 8, 9, 10-figure businesses, people who are off their game, top sports professionals. So most people can't afford it, but I'm still paying Andy because, like you see in the picture, it's like the missing piece. And literally, as I was preparing this webinar, I am using the teachings that Andy gave me to program myself for success. So I brought Andy on because I really care about results. Last week, I made an offer to a tiny fraction of the list. It's like the most incredible offer I've ever made to work with 4 people in an exploding niche that like nobody's ever heard of. And they would work 4 people and me. And no one took me up on it. And I was just laughing to myself and said, you know what? I have to get Andy on a call. I mean, I could never in my life come up with a better offer than I did last week. And people are paralyzed by fear. And I said, Andy, would you do a webinar with me? Now, Andy and I did not prepare this webinar together. We didn't. I just put together the questions, and Andy got to see them maybe 2 minutes before the webinar. And he goes, Harlan, you sent me the same thing as you sent me last time, which is true. you know, because I know the burning questions that people have. And I know that Andy can answer them. He didn't need to be prepped. He didn't need to be, okay, Harlan, now say this. Let's rehearse this. Let's do that. No. When someone has got this fire burning inside of them, you just let them go. I twisted Andy's arm to create an all new program. It's called the Masters Program. It did not exist until I said, Andy, my peeps can't afford you. Honestly, you can't. I mean, he starts at 5,000 a month and goes up from there. Okay. So the master's program is a 6-week program. Each week you'll discover your own programs that are running on autopilot. Okay. We all have them, and they are causing our failure. You will destroy anything that's holding you back so you can step into the brightest possible future. You will break through every single former limitation that you have. And there are 2 special practical pieces. Every week, Andy gives you an active installation and an unconscious installation. Andy, explain what those 2 pieces are.
Absolutely. And the active installation is a piece that people miss. That's actually going out into the world and practically applying these techniques and tools and systems, right? The other side of it is we have to every week, as part of the secret sauce, is actually dropping you into trance and actually tuning your brain up, just like I do for 8 figures, 9-figure people, just like I've done for world champion athletes. And that is the secret sauce. Because just like the books that people read, just like the courses that you've done in the past, it's just, you're just reading stuff. But why I've been able to become so successful is simply because my skill, and it really is my talent, is tuning up the unconscious mind to a whole different level that you haven't experienced. So I want to be able to give that for you. And I don't do that very often when I do programs. It's really, really kept private for VIP clients.
Now, LaVaughn said something to me, but you are already a success, Dr. Kilstein. And the answer is that, LaVaughn, every time you do something, when you want to go from 6 to 7 figures, there's a leap that you need to take in your mind first before you can take it in your business. And when you want to go from 7 to 8 figures, you have to make a similar leap. People who are doing $50 million a year need to make a leap to get to $100 million a year. And it starts in the mind, because the bigger your company gets, the more money it makes, the more challenges. So we put this program together. It's 6 weeks. 6 weeks to total transformation. Week 1 is designing, decisions, and drive. Stop living the life, the deck of cards that you've been handed, and choose what you want. Design your future instead of bitching about what you got. Week 2, deleting and destroying everything that is in the way of your ultimate success. And this means leaving people behind who are hindering you. This means leaving old concepts behind that are stopping you. This means programming yourself for success and not letting a single thing get in the way. Next, time folding. What's that?
Time folding is such an important concept because people get People think that things take much longer than they do. And it's not true. There's a law out there called Parkinson's law. What the heck does that mean? It means if you've got a year to do it, it'll take you a year. If you've got 6 weeks to do it, it'll take you 6 weeks. So it's about creating laser focus. It's about teaching you real practical tools around things I teach about calendar organization and state change and how flow states work. That's how we fold time.
Week 4, life ROI. Explain that concept.
Absolutely. This is about understanding, switching you literally from the old to the new, to the consumer version of you who gives your time, effort, and energy away. And it's switching you to an investor version of you that is always going to get an ROI. We look at the 9 business balances and we show you how to use absolute definitive flow states to really just get results rapidly.
Okay. Week number 5, BBE. What is the bounce back effect?
Well, we all need this, right? Because life isn't smooth, and anyone that tells you it is, they're just lying to you. So what we need is a resource, a technique, an actual system that I've taught to thousands of people at the highest level. And it doesn't matter what stress you're in, what overwhelm you're in, what happens if someone lets you down. The ability to fire up and get on and get going and get results again, well, that's what everybody needs. So I'm going to teach you that system in week 5 to be able to always be in control of your mind, your emotions, that peak state, so you can get results every single day.
Okay, so our next piece is this year and beyond.
Sounds good, right? Well, the thing is, I want everybody to have a program installed in their brain. So when you think about the future, instead of being full of anxiety and doubt and hesitation and procrastination, it's full of excitement and drive and passion. And you actually are in alignment with what you want to do. And every day, instead of it being painful, every day, you're then looking at the future and you just want to do it. You're pulled into the future instead of living in the pain. That's what we want installed in your brain. So we do things like decade design, right? And we reverse engineer it. And I even teach you how to tweak your memories to be able to make sure that every day you're laser focused on what you want, and the imagery that you've got in your head about the future and your business and money and success is exactly what you've always dreamt about.
Oh, wow. Sounds good. This is something I need myself again. So what we've done is we've put this together. I have a special bonus if you sign up tonight. Our website to go to is Kilstein.com Mastery. Now, I promised you something, a gift from our guest, Andy Murphy, and you will find it right on that page. So I'm going to type that in here. I wish I could. I got to put my big glasses on because it is late at night and I can see nothing now. Okay, this is in the chat. Would someone tell me, does that work? I'm going to click on it myself. And there we are. There you see good looking Andy. And here's the buy now button right in the middle. And you see here your gift and your second gift. And let me tell you, those gifts are absolutely worth it. Now, if you go back here just to see what you're getting, week number 1, designing decisions and drive. Number 2, deleting and destroying. Number 3, time folding. Week 4, life ROI. Week 5, the bounce back effect. Week 6, this year and beyond. If you related to Andy at all during the webinar, you identified with what he was saying, and you understand that I do not give people tens of thousands of dollars freely again and again unless I'm getting a life ROI out of it, you will understand why I'm so excited about this. So, what we are doing is there is a membership site that you will be invited to. After you paid, you'll be taken to a membership site where there is some information there already. And when you get there, um, there you're going to have a welcome message, and after that, each week there is going to be new content added. And there will also be times for that will uh, there will be new times that um, simply you'll be able to ask questions of Andy or of me. But the contact information is just going to be super high value. So this is something that you should really check out. And I'm seeing people already starting to come on board. The cost is either $19.97 or we break it into 4 payments for you. And 4 payments, of course, will take you beyond the 6 weeks. But because we know the value of it, we know that you will be here and you'll be happy and consider this one of the smartest moves that you will do. Can't hear me? I'm sorry. Can you hear me now, Levon? Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Am I gone?
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Levon says she can't hear me.
No, I can hear you.
Okay, now you can hear me. Okay.
Good.
Okay. All right. So, folks, go over there. Kilstein.com Mastery. This is going to be a life-changing course for you. If you get in tonight, and obviously we will know who is in tonight, we will give you some really cool stuff that that nobody else gets. But that's only if you get in there tonight. So, folks, any questions? If you have questions, ask them now. Put links in the chat. I did. Will there be interactional program? We will set that up. I missed when you talked about the cost. If you go to the page, right there, oops, https kilstein.com mastery. You'll get the details there. When does it start? It's going to start next week. Okay? During the actual presentations, the presentations are going to be recorded, but we will set up regular time for you to chat with us. What we'd rather do, Ellen, is have you go through the content and then do a Zoom call about the content that you've gone through to force people to go through the content. Okay. What happens after 6 weeks? Will I be another Tony Robbins student? So let me tell you what happened to me. And here's what happened. I had my first session with Andy, and then I didn't schedule my next session with him for a very long time. I was like, okay, like, you mean I get more sessions? I was just like, the one session, the first session, it was like, oh my God. And he gave me like programs, and the programs that he gave me to work internally are like on my phone, they're on my iPod. I listened to them every single day. I stretched this thing out because session one was just so impactful. And then finally, I stopped being a baby and hoarding the sessions and came back for session two. But I spread them out. They were supposed to be over a month. I spread them out because I would get one session. And Andy, can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I don't think I used all my sessions from the first time. I'm still hoarding some of them. Not that it matters now or I'm complaining, but I got so much out of it that, like, there's a question here about what about the Tony Robbins syndrome? No, because Andy is going to give you something to listen to every single time. As a matter of fact, even if you don't join, Andy's giving you something to listen to every morning. And this is just a sample. I mean, this is what he's giving away. What he's going to be providing to people in the program is infinitely better. But he's giving you this gift because he wants everyone to change. Okay. Josh is saying, membership site states, new members create your account and how to get started. Existing members, I entered an email and password to create an account, received the following message: no account found with matching email and password. We will take care of that tonight. Create your account only shows a login page. I will get everybody who signed up tonight, I will get their names over to Andy, and he will take care of it tomorrow. Since we're not starting to next week, when you log in, when he gets you logged in and squared away, then there is a video waiting for you when you come in. That is going to be there. And I'm just watching more people come in. Looks like we're going to have a nice group. Now, I have to tell you something, okay? You know, and I've told you this, but my keto business is exploding, okay? To do $1 million business, you have to do 2,700, and I think it's $39 a day. And in my business now, it's over 10,000 for the day, okay, in the keto business. So, folks, I'm not doing this because I need your money. I'm doing this because I want you guys to have your own 7-figure businesses. And the person that I used to get there is on the call with us, Andy Murphy. So, folks, I'm letting you work with my coach. Take advantage of it. I'm going to be on the calls with you, but I have to tell you that you are going to be in for a treat. And the people who have signed up already, well, let me tell you, you are going to be completely changed when you come out of this. Are there any last questions? It doesn't look like it. Andy, thank you so much. For those of you who hopped on late, I will mail out a replay tomorrow. Folks, have a great night. Andy, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, Harlan. And I'm really excited, everybody. And I know I'll see you very, very soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.